Hello, Lisa here with the Lyon County History Center. And while many of you probably know Emporia is known as the founding city of Veterans Day, what you may not know is the story behind that. Uh, November 11th, 1918, World War I ended, and it was called Armistice Day. Well, many years later, the United States got involved in another war, World War II, when Pearl Harbor was attacked December 7th, 1941. Many men and women lost their lives during World War II. And if you look at this picture, this is actually a National Guard unit from Emporia. It is the 137th Infantry, the 35th Division, and this is Company B. And if you look at the gentleman who's kind of standing behind, he's wearing a helmet. He's right there. His name was John Bull Cooper, and he was the nephew of this gentleman who owned Al's shoe shop, Alvin King. And he was a shoe repairman, and his shop was actually just a couple of storefronts to the north of the Lyon County History Center, where we presently sit. Well, when John was killed in December of 44, this devastated Al King. He was very close with his nephew. And so he wanted to do something where all veterans, all military servicemen and women were recognized. And so he thought about changing Armistice Day to Veterans Day, where all veterans would be recognized. And here in Emporia, the programs, the tributes also started to change. They started to call it the All Veterans Tribute, the All Veterans Program. And so he enlisted help from military organizations, from veterans organizations throughout Kansas to gain support in making this change. Well, Emporia had a friend in Congress. His name was Ed Reese. And this is Ed Reese's World War I uniform. And so he was a U.S. congressman, and he knew what was happening in Emporia, so he wrote the legislation to change Armistice Day to Veterans Day. And in June of 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was raised in Kansas, signed into law the act proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day. Now, this proclamation that we're looking at is actually from later, from 2003, and this was an act, a resolution that named Emporia the founding city of Veterans Day, but also recognized the contributions of Al King as well as Representative Ed Reese for their contributions to making the change. So in 1954, we had our first Veterans Day parade. We also have a number of items, artifacts, and archival materials from when John was killed. And we have the pen that was signed by Eisenhower in 1954. I'm asked quite frequently, what's my favorite artifact, or are there any artifacts that have special meaning to me? And I have to say, it's John's personal belongings. It's his dog tags. When I hold them to dust them or to change the exhibits, there's something when I hold them. These are his ribbons. The book, Steps to Christ, as well as the cross, was something that he had on his person when he was killed in action. This is the Western Union telegram to his grandmother, notifying her that he was missing in action. She would later receive word that he was killed in action. And we also have two Purple Hearts. One he had received prior to his death He was injured in the summer of 1944, and after he recovered, he joined the rest of his company, joined Company B to continue fighting. And then the second Purple Heart, he was awarded posthumously for his injuries that he received when he was killed December of 44. So that's the quick story of Veterans Day and how it's really closely related to Emporia's history. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let us know. If you have any special requests of artifacts, stories that you'd like to know, please let us know. We'll be posting this to YouTube and our social media platforms, so just let us know if you have any questions. Until next time, be well, be safe, and be hopeful. Take care.